State investigators are now looking into a deadly deputy-involved shooting overnight in Shawano County. This happened early this morning in the town of Green Valley. That's about 4 miles southwest of Gillett. The Wisconsin Department of Justice says Shawano County deputies were called to a disturbance about 1:40 in the morning in the 2300 block of Highway 22. When they went inside, they found a man locked in a bathroom. Officials say he refused to come out and told deputies he had a gun. Investigators say that deputies used less than lethal force, but that did not work. They say the man then advanced toward officers with what they believed was a firearm. One deputy fired, hitting him. EMS was called. Life-saving measures were started, but the man later died at a local hospital. No officers or members of the public were hurt. The deputy who fired the shot now on administrative leave. That is standard policy. DCI is leading the investigation and will turn its findings over to the Shawano County District Attorney when they are complete.